And this is Majino, and here's the quick overview of the final week of DC's relaunch books. I'm going to do them all in one setting, because it's getting late, and I just want to get them all done before I go to sleep. Now, with Superman #1, I think this is more like a book that's going to be appealing to like the newer Superman readers. It's the Superman that you know and love type thing, except for that he's a little bit younger, a little bit more inexperienced. You have the costume going, he's fighting a supervillain, he's acting a little bit more heroic than he does in Action Comics, which is more like a telling of his first days of Superman. There is some differences. The Daily Planet's now owned by like a corporation that's kind of like Fox News in a way, that's full of scandal, things like that. And Lois Lane has a boyfriend, so they're not seeing each other right now. I think it's a decent book. It's there's some good points to it in that it's like refreshing to see him younger, still gaining his powers type thing, because they make reference to the fact that he's able to fly higher, lift more than he did earlier, and also this ties in with Stormwatch. So this is definitely leaning towards my keep pile, but I want to see how the other two issues are going to play out. Savage Hawkman. Okay, this was one that I was really on the fence when I was reading this, and every page for me was on the fence. You have Carter Hall destroying his Hawk costume for some reason, and now I thought this panel was really weak here because it really didn't show like a great Hawk image inside the fire, but I think they made up for it right here. This I thought was this was a really spectacular couple pages. The art is different in that it's not as comic booky, superhero-y, which I really like, and this is definitely a different origin type story for Hawkman. I'm really curious to see where this is going to go. It's so far in my I don't know yet category, and I want to see how the other two issues are going to pan out. For me, Hawkman has always been hit and miss. Some days he's brutally violent, which I love. Other times I think the story just kind of goes nowhere. So we'll see where this goes. Batman the Dark Knight #1. This is David Finch's book, and I don't know. I love the villain part at the end, where the villains escape out of Arkham. But I think Bruce's face, not only Bruce's face, I think that some of these other faces just look horrible in general. Especially like panels like this, like that. Like if you compare, like for example, Bruce's face there looks fine, Bruce's face there, not so good. Then you have, it's very like Jim Lee-ish type thing. And you have a girl flirting with Bruce, and he just ignores her. Obviously, because he's got more important matters on his hand. I love this spread here, and I believe this is going to actually tie in with the Batman book, because you have the escaped prisoners. So, I don't think this is as strong as the other Batmans, but I'm curious to see where it's going to go, because somebody's figured out that Bruce is funneling money to a vigilante. Voodoo is perfectly designed for adolescent boys who can't surf porn. That's basically my opinion of this book. The art's nice, and you get to see some strippers. You get to see Voodoo dancing up on stage. Very, very appealing. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It makes up for the lack of story, but the story just the story so far is basically people know that Voodoo is inhuman. They're investigating her, and the idiot basically plays his card too soon and gets taken out. I'm sighing like that because I don't know what to think for this thing. Part of me thinks that this thing could turn out to be really interesting, but the other part of me is going, well, they focused on boobs and strippers so much. Does this thing really have a story behind it? And if it doesn't, I can just see this thing just going straight to the drop pile and cancellation. We'll see. So far, like, I have so many other quality books to read in a month. So far this is staying on the. I'm probably going to drop it, but I'm curious to see where it's going to play out. Justice League Dark. I really surprisingly like this one. I like the concept of the the sorcerers or the magic using heroes getting together. And in this case, what we have here is, you have the Justice League on, investigating something. You have the Enchantress going insane. Great, so there's some great artwork along the way. And there's teeth flying everywhere. But Superman's getting cut up to shreds. And this is basically your beginnings of the Justice League Dark. And I was actually pleasantly surprised with this. I'm curious to see where it's going to go. So far, this is definitely going on my keep pile. Aquaman #1, I loved it. I just loved it, and I probably loved it for some of the wrong reasons. I liked the art. I liked how Jeff Johns made fun of Aquaman, because you have Aquaman going into a restaurant, and a blogger comes up to him, trying to interview him, and says, how does it feel to be like the most hated superhero? And that's exactly what I think of Aquaman in the DC universe. He's just the most hated superhero. So I'm curious to see. I just like the way that's going. You do have some creatures from the deep who are going, there's food up on the surface. So I'm curious to see where that's going to go. So far, this is going to be a keep. I don't think this is going to be a long-term keep. I can see it maybe going 1 or 2 story arcs, and then I'll probably get bored with it. But at least for right now, I think it's fresh, and it's an interesting take on Aquaman. One other thing I noticed is with some of these books, like for an example, Aquaman here, you really didn't need to relaunch the DC universe to do this, because you could have just taken this Aquaman and thrown him in the old DCU, and he would just fit in just fine. Green Lantern's New Guardians. I didn't like it. I just didn't like it. Now, I understand that the Green Lanterns were supposed to be basically starting right where it left off. Well, in this case it doesn't, because this is where Kyle gets his ring. And Kyle gets his ring, he's zipping around, and all these other rings from all the other colored lanterns, they're all leaving, and they're all going to Kyle, and then a representative from all the colors traces the ring back, and they want the ring back because they think he stole it. Obviously, we're going to have a battle royal the first maybe issue or 2, and then from there they're going to figure it out, hey, wait a second, he's not the one who's doing it, there's something else responsible, and then we'll have a new team of the Guardians type thing. I'm just getting really tired of Green Lantern, so I'll read the 3 issues that I pre-ordered. Beyond that, I'm not buying. I don't think. iVampire, I wrote this off. Honestly, I wrote this thing up completely. But this thing really has me intrigued. I think the artwork, it's dark, it's sinister, it's very Jim Lee-ish. It's not Jim Lee, it's that other guy who did Hellshock and that Namor series from Marvel. It's very dark, sinister looking, and it's basically, it looks like this is taking place in an alternate world, I guess you can say, because the vampires have started their war against the humans, and there's one vampire that's standing in their way. And basically it starts off with Boston getting massacred, so I think that this can't take place in the regular DCU, just because if it did, then superheroes would have been involved. Wait, I think his name is Jay Lee. I think. I don't remember. But I really like this. I'm going to stick with it. It's going towards my keeper, but I just have this feeling it's going to end up sucking after a couple issues. I think I like it because it's fresh. Not interesting, but it's just fresh for DC. But we'll see. Okay, All-Star Western. I heard a lot of good things about this book. So I'm sitting here, I'm reading it, I'm going derpy, derpy, derp. Okay, somebody's killing prostitutes, derpy, 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 Jack the Ripper, derp, derp, derp. And then I'm like, the art's okay. I mean, I like it just because I think the art fits the story in a way because it's totally different. You know, it's a Western. It doesn't quite fit in the regular DC, what you see in the regular DC books, so I'm okay with it. Jonah Hex is brought in to investigate, or hired to come in and investigate. He kicks some ass, and I'm still going derpy, derpy, derp. Then we get to the end, and I'm like, oh, actually, I can see why this is actually kind of good. It's basically Jimmy Pomadi basically is taking a story from Jack the Ripper where people think that it might have been somebody who was a part of like the nobility or the wealthy class, and in this case, it's the same thing. It's the wealthy of Gotham that's being, that's potentially the killer or killers. So I'm curious to see where this is going to go. I don't know. Like, this is another one where it's like this is weird because I recognize the good that's in this, but it's a Western. I have so many books to read, I don't know how many I'm going to stay on with. But it is good. It is good, but I don't know if it's going to appeal to everybody because it's a Western. Teen Titans. This reminds me of the X-Men. Because what we have here is Kid Flash doing something stupid. He creates a backdraft, house blows up, and obviously now you have the media going crazy. Where all these teenage superheroes coming from, and they're out of control. So you have this organization called Nowhere that's basically hunting them down. So Red Robin, who's split from Batman, he's getting his team together. And I like the new Wonder Girl, even though she doesn't want to be called Wonder Girl. Kid Flash, I don't know, he reminds me a lot of Impulse, so I kind of like that. And at the very end, you really get to see Superboy. So something funny is going to happen with Superboy, I think. But I liked it. It was an entertaining read. I think this is probably a better start than pretty much all of the other Teen Titans books that have been coming out recently, past couple years. So I'm really curious to see where this is going to go, even though it's just the X-Men. Minus the mutants. Blackhawks, I skimmed through it. I really couldn't read it. I did think this was better than Medal of Honor. I thought This is weird. I thought Medal of Honor was easier to read, but I thought Blackhawks was better, even though I really couldn't just sit there and really analyze this. I'm going to drop it. All I have to say is Secret Ops. Somebody gets compromised with nanobites, and somebody has a picture of their symbol, and it's potentially going to get out. So they're concerned about that. I think this is a title that they should have redesigned this to be better, or gone in a slightly different direction, or or just not have done it. They should have put out another superhero book. Flash. There's absolutely nothing special about this book. It's let's play it safe and tell a Flash story type thing. It has to do with DNA genes. Somebody gets killed trying to steal this device. It's somebody that Barry Allen knows, and there's a surprise thing at the end. So far, this book has really shown me absolutely. It's not telling me to buy it. So I think this is going to be something that I'm probably going to end up dropping. I know people are going to like it though, especially Flash fans. I can see why they might like it because it's your typical Flash. It's Barry Allen. Barry Allen's always late. He's behind on his deadlines, and he's played safe Flash type thing. But I don't want to play it safe Flash. I want something new. I want something fresh, something exciting, and I'm not getting it. So I'm probably going to drop. Now, The Fury of Firestorm. This one, I don't know. It was painful to read at the beginning. You have some guys going around. They're looking for these canisters with extreme power. They're killing people along the way. You have gosh, now I'm forgetting their names. Donnie, I think, and that other guy, Jason. And then they're bickering like they did in Brightest Day. And while there's sometimes I really like the bickering, but there's other times I hate it. Like, for an example, with Naruto and Sasuke, I hate that bickering. And this, for some reason, reminds me of that kind of antagonistic relationship. They both have a chip on their shoulder type thing, and nobody's willing to meet each other halfway. And so anyways, the bad guys eventually trace it back to the school, and that girl's alive again, even though after she got killed before in Brightest Day. And then Jason turns them both into Firestorm. Now, the twist I do like, and this is where it started to catch my attention, is they're basically two entities, as you know this cover suggests. And of course now they're still bickering, even though there's bad guys right there wanting to kill them. They decide to still fight themselves. But then what happens is they merge, which, as you can see on the cover here, I'll spoil it because it's on the cover, and it calls itself Fury. I like this. I love this page. I love that 100%. So it just drew me right in. So for right now, this is going to get a life, but I don't know how long it's going to last, because if these two fighting all the time, I think it's going to get tiresome. They're going to have to start to learn how to work together, because if they don't learn how to work together, this is going to get old really fast. So we'll see where it goes. Anyways, that's my overview of the books. What I'll probably do is I'll make another video, and I'll show my pulls that I'm probably going to keep, and then I'll put that list aside, and then after issue 2 and 3 come out, I'll do another video to see where those issues stand. So if you like DC Comics, hook the video up. Let me know what you guys think of this week. Which ones are you getting? And tomorrow's a new comic day, so I'll have comics up. So until next time.